Let's meet in order, please. Everyone would join us. We'd like to have the pledge of allegiance to start off with. Mike in the back. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to start by welcoming or asking you, just say to you that we appreciate all you coming out tonight. What I'd like to do to start off with, oftentimes when the board goes on the road, so to speak, as we go out to the schools, not everybody's familiar with everyone. Whereas if we're in Hamlin, we have little nameplates. But I'd just like to begin at the end is Mr. Larry Wilkerson, Fred Curry, he's the Vice President of Board of Education. Tricia Lucas is our Superintendent of Schools. I'm Steve Priestley. This is Gary McAllister. And the rose among the thorns, except for Trish, is Carol Smith. Also, we have with us Jeff Midkiff. He's Assistant Superintendent of Schools in Lincoln County. Brenda Powell, who is Executive Secretary and Superintendent, as she has been for a long time. And the board's treasurer, Bertie Gannon. Once again, thank everybody for coming out tonight. We're going to begin by asking for approval of the minutes from the last meeting, please. Mr. McAllister made the motion. Ms. Smith seconded. All those in favor?
Yes. Yes.
Anybody opposed? It's an all-yes vote. Okay. I don't think anyone has signed in to speak tonight. Typically, anyone that wants to address the board in the future, wherever it may be, if you wish to do that, you can always sign in prior to the meeting and address the board. But we're going to do several things tonight. We have a couple of LSIC reports that we're going to hear from Midway here at Duval. The board is, as you may know, is in the process of preparing for a school bond issue that'll be soon to be held here early next year. So we're going to be dealing with that tonight too. So we have quite a few things. Everybody's welcome to join us. And if you're just here to hear your school's report, or maybe your child's going to perform or something, we understand that if you want to leave when that's over too. Okay. First off, though, since we don't have anybody signed in, is Alan Ellis with us tonight? Alan Ellis from Lincoln County High School is a student regarding financial aid. Does anybody have any information? Jeff?
He's not here tonight. I think Mr. Snyder was supposed to him earlier.
Okay. Well, should he come, we will fit him in our agenda tonight. Okay, the first, next item will be presentation, and this is the LSIC report, and we'll start with Mr. Davis and Midway. There he is. Back on that back row, Mr. Tully.
That's right, I'm hiding back there.
I'll just turn it over to you.
Superintendent Lucas, Mr. Midkiff, President Priestley, and other distinguished members of the Board of Education. I want to thank you for giving me this opportunity to come before you and kind of showcase a little bit about Midway Elementary, share with you our test scores, and also some of our needs. With me this evening, I brought Mr. Tolley, who is a 5th grade teacher at Midway, and Mrs. Priscilla Milam, and she is a 4th grade teacher at Midway. I also want to thank you all for giving me the opportunity to be a principal here in Lincoln County and at Midway Elementary. I have spent the better part of 20 years in the high school setting, mainly in the high school, middle school setting. And when I went through my administration classes, my whole thought was at some point I'm going to be a high school vice principal or principal. And having gotten the job, given the opportunity at Midway, there is no other place that I would rather be. I've been there just a few months, and the staff there is just wonderful to work with. The students are great, and the parents have been great. So, again, thank you for that opportunity. All right, so we're going to start with our mission statement, and I apologize to this side of the room. You won't be able to see the PowerPoint very well. Well, I don't know where we can move it unless we block the aisle. Educating the whole child to thrive in an ever-changing world. Our vision statement is to make the path to lifelong success available, desirable, and obtainable for every student that enters our building. Now, the first thing I want to talk to you about is our West Test scores from last year. We had a 100% participation rate. All students took the test. Now, one of the requirements in making adequate yearly progress through the No Child Left Behind law is that you have to have at least a 93% attendance rate. At Midway last year, we had just over 97%. Now, to our scores. Starting with reading proficiency. Now, the main numbers I want to bring to your attention is our schools' proficiency versus the county versus the state. As you can see, in reading last year, Midway was about 3% below the county and 13% below the state. So, in reading proficiency, certainly we have some work to do. Math proficiency, again, slightly below the county average. We were at nearly 33% proficient versus the state at a little over 46%. Again, science, as you can see, Midway is pretty well in level with the county, falling a percent or two behind in most of the categories, but still lacking behind the state average. And the same thing with social studies. So across all four core areas, we're just below the county level and several percent below the state. With that in mind, we did not make adequate yearly progress at Midway Elementary this year. Now, if you take a look at the chart, I apologize for the graph. The top blue, the blue bar should be over 1. But if you look, as far as participation rate, we made it across. As far as all students in math and reading, we made adequate yearly progress. Now, I know when you look at those percentages, you know, they look kind of low compared to the state average. But we did make adequate yearly progress in all areas in math and reading. And of course, our population, we don't have a lot of diversity. We're mainly white, so we made it across the board. As you can see, in all the other ethnic groups, we do not have enough students to even make a subgroup. So that's why you see the NA. We do not have enough special education students to make a subgroup as well. Therefore, you see the NA across. Now, if you go to the low SES, that's the socioeconomic status group. That's a majority of our students fall into that. Well over 60%. So when we're looking at that group, again, when it came to math and the participation rate, we made adequate yearly progress. But as you move over to the assessment piece on the low SES under reading, that's where we failed to make it. And so obviously, it would be easy to say, well, we need to focus just on the low SES group, but the bottom line, that's the majority of our kids. So we've got to focus on all of them. So, the question is, how are we planning on bringing these test scores up? And I'm going to let Mr. Tolley come up and talk to you about school climate.
Show me what to do with the clicker.
Forward, backwards. Right there's the laser.
This is like some sheet, right? To have a cheat sheet. What I wanted to talk about is the school climate improvement. And we have recently, I believe we have a Mrs. Abbott, who is going to be our parent coordinator, volunteer parent coordinator. And we hope to get more parent participation at this present time, we have a lot, and we have wonderful parents in our school. One of the things that that we found out that if you improve school climate, you also improve test scores by 10%. And those are statistics that we can look at. One of the things that we have, and I'm sure most of the schools throughout the state and county have, is a student of the month. And we recognize our student of the month. We have, I believe, 2 classrooms per each grade. Each child is nominated by the teacher. And of course, we have our morning announcements, and those students are recognized through the morning announcements. They're also recognized on our school website, and of course by their individual classroom teachers. These students are also given certificates and recognized in the school for their achievements. We have something that we started this year called the Word of the Month, and we've had each month, we started out with respect. The next month, I think, was honesty, and then responsibility, and finally this month it's caring. And what we do, each morning we have what we call a morning meeting, and we discuss within these what each one of these components are. And each one of the children, they write about, we discuss what, for example, this month was caring. And within that, I believe Mr. I'm trying to think, it's called Project Wisdom, that he talks and discusses with this, with the Word of the Month. He goes through and discusses the areas that children need to be concerned with. With caring, we have a huge bulletin board out in our hallway where children basically place what they believe caring is. And I know I was reading over this particular month, it was the 5th grade, and one of the students had written on theirs as I was reading through it, and we placed on the bulletin board, caring means when your pet is sick and you can't, you have a ball game to go to, you have to miss that ball game because you care so much about your pet. You have to take your pet to the vet. So I thought that kid got the idea of what caring is all about. We do have, in this, we have a business partnership with Coal River Energy. They have been fantastic for us. They've helped us immensely. And I'll talk a little bit more as I go on. They have provided us with not only monetary funds, but also labor here at our school with past several years. This year, they've already, I believe, provided us with $600, correct? And that is with their Responsible Students program. They've also helped purchase games for inside recess when the weather is inclement outside, you can't go outside. Playground equipment. Last year, I don't know, most of you board members, you've probably driven by the school. We have a fantastic playground, a new playground. We are in the process of working on a basketball court, providing some things up there that's been neglected over the past few years. But last year, our previous principal, she wrote a grant, and I believe that was through, and I'm not sure, I should have looked that up, but I think it was through either Healthy Schools or Healthy Schools, and I think she acquired a $50,000 grant. And we were able to get a walking trail, and that also helped to pay for some of the playground equipment that we have there. One of the areas that we had to provide with that grant, as you well know, a grant, there are some stipulations with that. And because of the obesity rate that we have here in the state of West Virginia, and along with the nation, the students are required to walk along with the staff about 15 to 20 minutes every day. So we do that, and that has been godsend for most of all of us. The next one is our school-wide responsible student program, and we call that STANS. Let's see, Mustang for Success, and you see the STANG, and each one of those, first one, the S stands for Strive for Success, the T, Treat Others with Respect, attend school daily, need to be prepared, and get to school on time and stay all day. Because we've had issues in the past with some students that would leave a little early or because of maybe doctor's appointments or mom maybe decided, well, we want to beat the buses. So this is a little incentive to help with that. And what this responsible student program that we've enacted, basically each teacher is given a sheet, and we fill out that sheet on each of the students, and they have to get all the letters in that during the course of the week to acquire the points. And then we set a goal for them, and each 9 weeks the goal will probably increase to make it a little more difficult to attain, but gives them the incentive to make that particular club. The end of this past 9 weeks, we had a pumpkin bowling contest, and the students who met that particular goal, and I believe it was 6 or 7 weeks out of the 9 weeks, 6 weeks out of the 9 weeks, they were allowed to perform in this activity. Now the other ones that did not, they were provided some other type of incentives to listen to. All right, character education, I believe. So, any questions so far? I know I'm going fast, but I know there's 2 presentations that have to go tonight. All right. And I believe that's the end of mine. So we go with this model. Probably know all about this technology.
Before I get into what's actually on the slide, our technology that we have at our school, most of our classrooms have smart boards or some type of interactive whiteboard there to be able to utilize during school time with their students. And all the teachers that do have that in place are using them on a daily basis. We love them. So thank you very much for those. We also have computers, at least 3 to 4 computers in each classroom that students can use to access Acuity, InGrade, Everyday Math Online, and other websites as the teacher sees fit. We do have a computer lab downstairs that we're trying to get in place. We have the equipment, we're just waiting on installation of those. There are 24 computers in that lab, and we also have a computer lab upstairs as well that contains 24 computers. We also have 2 mobile labs in our school. We have one upstairs for when the computer lab is being filled with 1 or 2 classrooms, someone else can use those mobile units to take back to their classroom using the students. And we also have one downstairs as well. Those contain, the one upstairs contains 27 computers and the one downstairs contains 30. We also use InGrade quite a bit. I love it. Most of my students are using it on a regular basis, those that have access at home. If they don't have access at home, we let them, a lot of teachers let them use their recess time to quickly look up their grades or whatever, so that it still gives them access to it. As most of you may know already, InGrade is used countywide, I do believe. Oh, is it just everywhere? Okay. InGrade is an online site that teachers can use to upload grades to. Parents, students have access. They have a unique username and password where they can go to, kind of like the Edline at the high school, except this is an elementary level. It's great. The kids can constantly maintain track of their record, how well they're doing, if they're failing, if they're passing, if they're kind of so-so, if they're missing any work. They can have a chance to make it up before they completely fail. It's a great tool to use. We also, a lot of teachers use iPads now that we have access to those. There are a lot of great apps out there that can be downloaded and used to help those lower level students to be able to pull them up, and the higher level students, take them on to the next level to get them prepared for the next grade and college and beyond. I know that I personally use, as well as a few other teachers that I know of, use some like the Everyday Math online apps that were provided. Thankfully, they were free, so it's something that we could have. Spelling City also now has an online app that you can download to the iPad instead of having to continuously go to their website, as well as a whole bunch of other things that has to do with math and science that the kids love. It's game-based, so of course kids are going to love them. They don't realize that they are actually learning most of the time when they're playing these apps. So, and then I'm going to move back to.
Okay, as Bruce Tully was telling you, research shows that just improving your school climate can raise your test scores 5 to 10%. Getting your parents involved, another 5%. This comes straight from research. So, it's not all about the curriculum part. If you just focus on the curriculum part, I think you're going to fail your school and your students. There's so much more to it. But you do have to focus on the curriculum part as well. And of course, there is a transition to new CSOs, and our teachers have been taking training in that and are implementing those. They're more hands-on, more 21st century. They're implementing those in the classroom this year. Our social studies and science score, you can see that they were below par. Well, we did not have social studies and science in our schedule as a set time. Now it is. Each grade level is required to teach social studies and science during the day and not just incorporated into reading. We've also purchased for our 4th grade, which I believe were the lowest scores in social studies, the U.S. Studies Weekly and the Science Studies Weekly. Other than the 5th grade, we've self-contained all of our classrooms. We were switching classes and putting the bulk of the responsibility on certain subjects on one particular teacher. We're not doing that anymore. We're allowing different teachers to teach the same subject because teachers can bring it across, and even though the curriculum's the same, sometimes the teaching style isn't. And so rather than put it on one teacher's shoulder, we want to share the burden. Increased writing and independent reading at student interest level. Again, if you look at research, if students are reading material on their own grade level and at their interest, it's going to make them want to read more. The better they can read, no matter what the subject is, math, science, social studies, you're going to see a difference in the test scores. And of course, as you parents know, on Wednesdays we do a 1-hour delay so that our teachers can meet in what are called professional learning communities. And in these professional learning communities, our teachers discuss. They discuss students. They discuss student data, what they can do to improve themselves, and what they can do to help those students who may be struggling, or to accelerate the students who are doing well. I really think that the PLCs across the county, I think we'll see an increase in test scores just based on that, if they're done right. Academic and facility needs. Want me to do this?
Doesn't matter.
I'll hand it over to you. Okay, all right, so one of the things that we're facing this year is we don't have a full-time counselor. So, now I want to talk. This is the part where I'm asking, showing you what we could, what we really truly need at the school to get to where we want to be. Our counselor serves 307 students at our school. I'm not sure how many at West Hamlin, but that's quite a few students. West Hamlin, I know, has more students than we have. So we have our counselor for 2.5 days, Monday, Tuesday, and a half day on Wednesday. Now, the good thing about this is, on the other hand, Duval's not far from Midway, so if we needed a counselor in an emergency situation, you know, we could get a counselor there. But it's not the same as just having somebody right there in person. Interventionists, obviously that one-on-one at Midway, we're not a Title I school, we're not a SIG school, so there's not a lot of extra money to hire these interventionists who can come in and give one-on-one attention to the students who need it. A technology integration specialist. I think Midway had one last year. Am I right on that? But we don't this year. Well, I know we don't have one this year, but somebody who can come in and train the teachers on how to use that technology. So, you know, technology is great if you know how to use it. If you don't know how to use it, then it's not going to help you too much. We do have a technology contact in Miss Milam, and I think she does a wonderful job in helping teachers when they need it. Full-time nurse, I know there's probably not a school in the state of West Virginia that has a full-time nurse. Well, boy, wouldn't it be nice to have one for these little ones who are always coming to the office with a bellyache or a scrape or a cut or who knows what. You know, an elevator. It's really difficult when you have a student who can't use the stairs, and if you don't have an elevator, you know, sometimes you have to move a whole classroom to another part of the building in order to be able to accommodate that student. Plus, moving that furniture up and down the stairs, that's tough too. But it would be nice to have an elevator. And Midway was built, I believe, in 1951. And so, you know, the facility is fairly old. And it only has 2 floors. Well, it has a 3rd floor that has a teacher's lounge upstairs, but mainly we have 2 floors. But there are 3 classrooms up there, and there would be 4. But we had to move the one. This year we had to move one down because we had a student with a handicap who couldn't go up and down the stairs. The other thing that I think we need is a halftime secretary. When our secretary goes to the lunchroom, it pretty well leaves, unless I can get somebody to cover, or I cover myself, it leaves the desk unattended, and then and that's usually for about 2 hours a day. And of course, somebody's got to let people into the building, answer the phone, and so forth. So those are just some things that we'd like to have sometime in the future. But the bottom line is, I really think that Midway's headed in the right direction. We have a lot of good things going for us. As I said, we have a very hard-working, dedicated staff, and a great student body to work with. And I truly believe that we will make AYP this year. The next thing is, does anybody have any questions for me or my team?
Anybody, any members of the board have any questions? I have a couple.
Okay.
I always have a couple. No, I'm glad that we're on the right direction. Davis, I agree with you 100%. Some of the things that are not directly in the classroom, unprepared, things like that. But I want to clarify a couple of things here. This year you've got a new kindergarten teacher because you're over the number.
For the overage, yeah.
Did you end up having a separate classroom, or was that incorporated with another teacher?
It's incorporated with another teacher. And actually, I believe you all are going to hire her tonight.
Well, good. I'm glad
Clayton for hosting the meeting tonight, and Duval PK through 8. I also want to thank you for letting me go first.
Thank you.
So have a good evening.